What do you mean you don't know what Dan Campbell is? He's
Dan
going to show
Campbell,
up with.
He's pissed
He's
off.
going to.
Hello, world, and welcome back to Gridiron Gamble, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ron, and I'm joined by the entire collective, the Disciple, Brett Colson, Donnie, DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nuwara. If you were watching us on YouTube, you'll see that I was scrambling there a little bit, and you can like the video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, subscribe to your podcatcher of choice. Rate and review 5 stars only. This is what I was scrambling for because I had the name earlier, but I wanted to make sure I had it and didn't flub the intro. 5 stars only, like I believe Will Johnson. Now I'm worried that I forgot it again. The only consensus 5-star player that will feature in the national championship game between Michigan and Washington. JJ McCarthy was a 5-star on 247, but not on Rivals. And the Washington Huskies do not have a single 5-star player on their roster. How about them?
How was McCarthy 5-star? That kid stinks.
No, any words?
Am I wrong?
Any words on McCarthy?
I don't know. I thought he was shredding the Big Ten. He was good last year, and then every time he gets to the big games, he just takes a dump.
Well, every time I've laid eyes on him, it's been in high leverage against Ohio State and Penn State, and it's been garbage football. So all I've seen from this guy is bad football.
He's literally supposed to be a first rounder this year.
Whoa, huh? An actually exciting college semi. I hate to admit it. I do hate to admit it. But 2 fun games. If you could stay awake for that Washington Texas game.
I want to know if Brett stayed awake.
No shot.
I went to bed right after Michigan won. That was it. I'd seen enough.
Now that's early. That's early.
I mean, I had a late New Year's Eve too. I'm amazed I stayed up for the entire Michigan game. So yeah, I didn't even watch Washington. I have no idea if Washington's good or not.
Something Penix, the weirdest throwing motion. I said it on Twitter, and I believe it to be so. I think Donald Trump has a better throwing motion than Michael Penix Jr.
That's ugly.
Dude,
Trump
looked
seeds.
like he could sling it a little bit.
He was throwing some seeds. I mean, abhorrent human being, but, you know, I would trust him maybe over some of the quarterbacks we'll see here in Week 18 of the NFL season. Week 17, another winner, consecutive winner for the collective, 3-2. A fortunate body blow when you look at the records across the board. DP went 3-2, Mo and I went 2-3, and Brett, I think one of your only stinkers of the season at 1-4. I don't believe any member of the collective has gone 0-5 at all this season, but Brett's one winner did get on the card, his goat flip-flopping on those Atlanta Falcons. No. That's right. I've got the Sounders.
Well, you had the Bears for the rah-rah. Bears got it done against the Falcons. Nice job.
Subconsciously, that's what I meant to do. We've got 3 split games on this Week 18 full 16 game slate. There's no game going on right now for Mo to yell at because he has some wager real life dollars, American dollars on it. And we start with a game which is very interesting to me. Rams at Niners. The Niners are 4-point favorites. Both of these teams are going to rest their players, but I'm confused as to why, because I think the Rams should be trying to win this game. I think the 6 seed has value to it when the conference is very flat right now. You've got one bully in the Niners, and the rest is just kind of bleh. So if you're the Rams, don't you want to hold some sort of equity of having home field in the NFC Championship game? Isn't that worth a little bit as opposed to punting on this week? And
what home field?
And being the 7th seed? Well, just not traveling. I understand that you're not going to have Trust me, I was at the Rams-Bengals Super Bowl, which was in the Rams Stadium and was still 60% Cincinnati. I understand that from...
Well, I was more thinking about it from the sense of, don't you want to avoid San Francisco as long as possible in case something goes wrong for them?
This is
but
the other,
I'm with you.
This is the other side of the coin, but I think you're just going to need to beat San Fran eventually anyway. So maybe get it away early and have some equity towards home field. So nobody had a strong opinion on this game. This wasn't featured in anybody's top 5, but I did click the Rams because I do think that they have a modicum of motivation in the spot, whereas the Niners have absolutely nothing to play for. DP, you clicked the Rams as well. What was your opinion on this game?
I mean, pretty much what you just said. I think that 6 seed is worth something. I mean, I don't know how it's not. I mean, you can't. All these coaches, all these NFL players, every single week. What's the number one phrase that these people utter for my entire existence? It's a game of inches. Well, if it's a game of inches, people, then 6 is greater than 7, okay? Make it happen. Like, you can't tell me it's a game of inches every single week, jam it down my throat, and then just be like, yeah, we're just going to forego a possible home playoff game in the scenario that it breaks that way. No, you have to play to try and win this game, for sure. Like, that's what you have to do.
Brett, you've been making some...
Well, you can't cap based on what people should do,
yeah,
or there would be a lot more different things happening.
Yeah. Brett, you've been making some faces. You've got the highest opinion. Mo doesn't have very much of an opinion on this game at all. He just clicked the Niners. But you have somewhat of an opinion on San Fran, so put a pin on this contest.
Well, yeah, it's Carson Wentz against Sam Darnold and Kyle Shanahan. So give me Darnold. Like, I don't think the Rams gain a lot by winning this game, but they can lose a lot by key starters going down with injuries. I think that's far more what they should be thinking about, is getting a healthy team into the playoffs. So that's my take. So yeah, I like the Niners to win here at home.
Carson Wentz, that's another part of the cap. I mean, this is his last shot, right? This game is for his career, right?
But I feel like what Brett said also applies a lot to the 49ers. I know they're not going to play starters, but like, I feel like the number one goal across the entire roster is literally do not get hurt. Nobody get hurt.
I know what Sam Darnold is. I know what he looks like. I have no idea what the hell Carson Wentz is anymore.
The Niners should be taking knees. The Niners should be taking knees in this game, right? Like, they have absolutely no incentive to play football. But you can only sit 7, right? 7 is the magic number when it comes to inactives. And then when you have a 53-man roster, you can't bench everybody. So people are unfortunately going to have to play murder ball and hopefully make it healthy into the playoffs. We go to, they're all divisional tilts this week. We remain out west for Broncos at Raiders. An angry Bronco might say that. Brett's got the highest opinion on this game. It's on the traveling Denver Broncos, who are getting 2.5 points in Las Vegas. Yeah, none of the split games were featured in any member's top 5.
Are you coming to me? Because I have one confidence ball. I don't have any notes on this game. I don't know what the hell.
You've got the biggest opinion. We need it. Absolutely need Brett's opinion.
I don't lay points with bad teams.
There it is. That's all we need. Again, I just think I'm the highest on the Raiders. They care so much about this Antonio Pierce guy that the effort is going to be measurably larger for Las Vegas than it will be for
so many
Denver.
Cigars in the locker room after they win this game by 12. It's going to be, they might have a parade down the Las Vegas Boulevard.
I mean, this is Stidham on the road against a Raiders defense that is just eating. And just a general Broncos vibe that's been very 1-2-3 Cancun, even when Hustle Bustle and Russell Wilson was under center for them. But obviously not a ton of points or anything here from DP or myself. So we move to the final game, a game where there's 2 games this week where I think fake sharps are just, they've gone too far. This game, I actually agree with them. I've got the New York Giants plus the points at home, but it's gross because you're getting the worst of the number at this point. You missed out on the value earlier in the week, and I don't think it's going to be moving in that direction anytime soon because influential money, I guess, keeps pouring in on the Giants. So I will not have any real American dollars on the G's, but for this exercise, I put an X next to their name. I think there's a demonstrative difference in this offense when Tyrod Taylor is under center, and it's just an Eagles team that I have absolutely no faith in whatsoever. Last week, with the division on the line and a pathetic Arizona Cardinals team and dome team coming up to rough and tough Philadelphia, they lose outright. So how can you have any trust in this Eagles team? That said, Mo, we like to back the team that looked the worst last week. And who looked worse than those Philadelphia Eagles?
I think this is fake sharps going too far. So I don't know how you can say that and take the Giants.
I know it's fake sharps going too far, and I still put an X next to Giants.
I bet the Eagles first half, just because I'm like kind of scared that if the Eagles are like up 17-7 at halftime, and then they see that the Cowboys are up 35-0, they're just going to pull all their starters, and then they might end up losing like 21-17 or something. So I fired Eagles first half, but I don't have any confidence in the full game number really. But I think as long as the Eagles are trying, they should definitely beat the Giants. I mean, dude, they were just 13-point favorites at home. I mean, I know that's a different quarterback, but it's not that different. Like Tyrod's still like, he's a good backup. I mean, DeVito's a bad backup, but they're both still backups. Like, I just don't see how the difference can be this big. I know Devontae Smith is, I guess, probably not going to play. I mean, I don't really see a reason to play him in a low-stakes game, so that's a factor. But the Eagles have ran all over the Giants, like, every time they've played them the last, 3 years. I mean, why wouldn't they just come out and cream the Giants on the ground again?
Boston, I've been told Boston Scott is a guaranteed touchdown against the Giants, even though he didn't do it last time. I've been told that this is...
Wasn't he like the most bet player that week to score a touchdown?
Yes, Mo. This is the thing. These idiots, they went all in on trends and bet a guy that literally doesn't touch a blade of grass to score a touchdown in pro football. DPU mustered a bit of an opinion here on Philly, so put a pin on the split game segment.
Well, I agree with Mo on the run straight aspect here. I also think, the Eagles have to get right. I mean, they have to. Like, they've sucked for multiple weeks and are just tumbling down our power rankings. Like, it's just, they have to get right. So, like, why not beat up on the lowly Giants, a divisional rival, Week 18, get a little bit of momentum, a little bit of a high going into the playoffs. I mean, if they stink this week, like, what's the feeling going to be in that locker room? I mean, holy hell. Like, you've been sucking for what, 6-7 weeks now. You possibly could lose to the Giants, like, if you just don't perform well. I mean, like, that just must feel horrendous. So, like, I feel like it's in Philadelphia's blood to play well in this spot or actually try. Even if the Cowboys are up, even if the Cowboys are winning, I feel like the Eagles just want to be able to have something where they can, like, hang their hat on riding into these playoffs.
I think there's some scenarios, if I've got this right, that if the Giants somehow win and the Jets lose, this, like, helps the Jets' draft chances dramatically, because although the Jets beat the Giants straight up, there's some strength of schedule stuff working here. So I will certainly be rooting for the G-Men on Sunday, but
small wins.
Yeah,
take them.
Yeah, exactly. Any way you can get them. All right, those are the split games. Let's get a little spicier and hop into the Lone Wolves. Speaking of those Arizona Cardinals, all of you guys, one of the things about Week 18 is you always want to look at teams that absolutely have to win and then try to fade them, because the entire market is going to be on that side. And yet all three of you couldn't help yourselves, spilling all over yourselves, to take the Seattle Seahawks in a double sounder game with those aforementioned Arizona Cardinals. Before record, I see that this is still 3 in real life, but Circa has it posted at 2.5, meaning that there will be or has been or will continue to be influential money on the Arizona Cardinals for a second consecutive week, because the Cardinals were bet very heavily last week heading into that Eagles game. And quite literally, the only reason why I clicked this is that it's an ugly number that I don't think people in the contest would click, seeing that there are 3s available, and because it's a must-win for the Seahawks. And what do we know about the final week of the season? We fade the teams that must win. That's my cap for this contest. I move to Brett, who not only picked the Sea Chickens, but has them in his top 5. Gino,
listen,
and the
I agree
boys.
with you. And in most cases, I did take the team that does not have anything to play for this week. But this one doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand how this is south of 3. I don't know what Circa's doing here. I think this should be 3.5.
There's been 2.5s though. There's been 2.5.
I can't wrap my head around this. The Cardinals are cooked, and you can sell them here off of last week's win. And the Hawks are playing for their lungs. I just think this is a great spot to fade Arizona off that beating that fraudulent Eagles squad. I think this has to be 3 at a minimum, with Seattle playing for everything this week. And the Cardinals, they still stink. I don't understand this.
Mo, pile on with Seattle.
Thing about this one though, I completely get what you're saying, Rich, but also the value's already taken out of the number on the Cardinals, isn't it? Like, this was 3.5, 4 early in the week, and it gets pounded all the way down to 2.5. At some point, Seattle has value. I mean, so I think it might be here. Only thing is, so I wanted to love the Seahawks. I had a lot of confidence that I felt like the Seahawks should be at least 3-point favorites, just like Brett. But then I looked at the injury report, and now I'm actually pretty worried, and it specifically centers around their tackles. This could be back to that mid-season Seattle just hideousness where they couldn't protect Geno Smith. He threw off his back foot every play, and he needed to be a miracle worker. But their season improved a lot when they got their tackles back and they got healthier, and now they're looking like they might be that other Seahawks team again. But then again, I mean, the Cardinals lost starting tackle for the season as well. So I don't know how the Seahawks can be south of 3. I just think they're quite a bit better than the Cardinals. I mean, like Brett said, you are also selling off a huge win. I will say that what you're saying there brings up some prop opportunities. When they did not have their tackles, Seattle ran a lot more 12 than their base 11, which means JSN might not be on the field as much. So if we do see these tackle injuries, as Mo has noted, perhaps y'all out there can take a look at JSN unders coming into this contest.
Can the Cardinals even capitalize on the Seattle injuries up front, though? Like, this team generates literally no pressure to begin with. So they matter, of course. Those injuries matter, but I'm not all that worried.
I mentioned the Giants, and another side where I think the Sharps have gone too far. This is the Sharp side of the week that I'm going to bring up right now. I'm worried that they're right. I'm not flabbergasted by it, which I am with another game, but it's Packers at Bears. Packers are -3 in the contest, seeing -2.5 at influential offshores. And every single person with a microphone this week loves Chicago, loves Justin Fields, loves something Eberflus. And this is the only, I have two must wins where I've selected. The other one was just a coin flip. But this one, I like the Packers in this spot. Coming off some short week, right, for the Packers. They played on Monday night, but an offense that just continues to impress. Jordan Love just kind of keeps doing it, save for one dump that he dropped 2 weeks ago. But Jaden Reed seems to be back and healthy, making big plays last week, although he left right after scoring those.
Yeah, take it easy. First of all, nobody played on Monday night besides the college teams too, so you're a little bit lost right now.
I'm still jumping around with kangaroos. That was the night game, Sunday night against the Vikings, which I had real American dollars on thanks to Mo Nawara in the Discord. bit.ly/Discord Moose. One of the bets of the century. Something Jaron Hall under 225.5 yards. 225.5 yards. They thought that guy was going to throw.
It was only 50 yards higher than I thought it was going to be.
And he only threw for 50 yards in the contest before getting yanked. And honestly, I think O'Connell would have yanked him in the first quarter if he wasn't so worried about saving face, because the guy he can't play. He just, the USFL and the XFL just merged. Go find a spot on the Battlehawks, my guy, because pro football just isn't your jam right now. But yeah, I think the Bears are going to be very popular in the contest, and I'm going to click the must-win team that is actually going to have leverage this week, and that is the Packers. DP's on the other side. DP is on those Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the popularity of this one. I don't see too much of a difference between these two teams, given how I think the Bears have really rounded into form the last, 5-6 weeks. I mean, they're playing pretty well overall, so I think 3 is just too much here. I mean, I guess I kind of ticked them down. This was kind of the first one that jumped out to me, and then I'm thinking, along the lines of Rich, well, if it's jumping out to me, I'm probably an idiot, and it's probably just going to be mega popular. I feel like this should just be the straight up 1.5. Give us the 1.5 home field thing, and that's that. I mean, what's really the difference between these two teams in terms of how they're playing right now? Right? I mean, is there much? This could be one of those Brett
don't
Carlson's.
think there is.
Maybe I'm just missing something and I have no idea and I'm an idiot as well. But I feel like the Bears are playing super well, and the Packers, they've had some spots. Rich, you mentioned Jordan Love. Reed's playing well, etc. But, what's Reed going to be? One. Also, I feel like the Packers kind of have a lot of things just kind of go their way. You watch Jordan Love, I'm half the time he just throws the ball up to nobody and somebody comes down with it on Green Bay. I'm what is this? This is Russell Wilson 2.0. Can we end this crap? So there's stuff like that that's happening. So yeah, I got to go with the Bears here. And I'll just eat the popularity because I guess it's week 18 and who cares at this point in terms of leverage.
Brett,
I think
the Bears bubbled your card. Yeah, go for it.
I think they're a top 10 team in the NFL right now. I have them 10th in my power rankings. I firmly believe this is a better team than the Packers. And this team I think they're going to show up. I'm buying into the narrative. I think they're going to show out for Justin Fields this week. It doesn't matter that they can't play in the postseason. They know the stakes are high for Fields and huge decisions coming from the Bears front office. If Fields is the guy in that locker room, they're going to have his back. And what better message to send to management than to win at Lambeau and end the season for the Packers? I think that's going to happen. I really like the Bears in this spot. I've fallen in love with this team over the past few weeks. I think Fields is the guy. I understand the tough decisions coming, and it makes a lot of sense to draft Caleb or Drake, whoever they decide to go with there. But I think they're better off just staying with Fields.
I don't know who can even offer the mega package for Caleb Williams. When you think about the teams in the league, or at least who would be willing to do it, who is going?
Well, it should be the Patriots.
Well, you know who it should be? You already have Garrett. You already have Brees. You've already got Jermaine. You've already got Sauce. All these players under contract control. You just trade for the quarterback. But they obviously won't because they have an ayahuasca-taking conspiracy theory idiot at quarterback. Go ahead, Davey.
It should be New England because some GM would get in love with the fact that he could have Bill Belichick traded to him. Some GM would fall for that. And there are a bunch of idiots out there at the GM position. Bill Belichick, of course, being one of those idiots at the GM position. Wait, you're saying trading
Bill for Caleb Williams? Is that what you're...
Well, I think he was saying trade Bill for to recoup some of the draft capital they would lose.
The move for the Pats, Robert Kraft, free advice. Not even charging you for this consultation session right now. Robert Kraft, you bring Bill Belichick in a room, you sit his ass down, you say, look, Bill, you've been a legend here. You've done incredible things. You can no longer be the head of player personnel. It's over. You can be the head coach, but you cannot be the GM. Because I don't believe there's another team in this league that would give him that dual position. Right? There's no team.
I don't know, man.
That would make him head coach.
You don't think
and GM.
the Chargers would?
I don't.
So, like some team that's desperate to like get a coach, get like sell tickets, etc. They're not like the Panthers, like these stupid teams. And Bill's like, my demand is I want GM and I want head coach. So, yeah, sure, go nuts.
I don't think
Tepper and Carolina will just throw another drink at somebody and move on. Like end of story. Like this. No, these people are idiots.
I don't think a team would do it. I honestly don't think. I don't think the Chargers.
The good teams won't. The very bad teams will.
I don't think
that's what they do.
I don't think the Chargers could afford it. I don't think the Chargers can afford Bill Belichick because they're notoriously cheap. Well,
you know what the thing is that if like he were to get fired or something and then go somewhere else, he's on the hook to get paid for one more year from the Patriots. So it's a little way of getting around some money.
The way to do this is to just make him the coach and bring in a GM. That's the way to do it. That's the way to fix.
I've been hearing rumblings that might happen. So
that's the way to do it. And I think it matters to Bill to stay in New England. I mean, he's been doing some good things on the field. You just need to remove player person. Don't even allow him to have an opinion on player person. He shows up in April.
You need to remove a lot of stuff, man. You need to remove his kids from the coaching staff. You need to what? The guy is unbelievable.
We'll get to that game in a bit. But my final lone wolf, it's Jags at Titans, and this is the only other must-win game where I've got the must-win side, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's the simple fact, guys, you all have this in your top 5. It's the simple fact that the voodoo's over. I've said this for weeks now. The voodoo is over. Kaput. Tannehill is washed. This whole team is a joke. It's over, guys. I don't believe in the voodoo.
This isn't voodoo.
That's all it is. That's all you guys are going to say.
Blue collar, blood, sweat, and tears, Vrabel.
Okay,
like,
voodoo.
Come on, man. Voodoo. Get out of
voodoo.
here.
That's all it is voodoo. Vrabel and Tomlin. It's just voodoo. None of it makes sense. You can't give me a logical argument as to why it's happening. It's nothing. It's just heart and voodoo and randomness. But you guys love the Titans. Who wants to step up to the plate and tell me why I'm wrong about Tennessee? Mo,
when was the last time the Jaguars looked good passing the football?
They haven't. I can't even recall.
Okay.
When's the last time
and
the
this
Titans...
is ultra circled
when's the last
after they
ended
their season last year.
When's the last time the Titans looked good playing football?
I mean, this is also...
Bro, this is about heart. End of cap.
Played the worst last week.
The Jaguars beat up on the stupid Panthers. I mean, come on. That wasn't even a real opponent that's out there on the field. Like, no.
So that's just it. We're just capping for voodoo in this game.
We're capping for heart, not voodoo. Heart.
Are we getting Trevor? Like, is it going to be Trevor? Now we got beat hard on the injury report. Like, who's playing quarterback for the Jags? We think it's going to be Lawrence, but I don't even know what he's going to look like. The Jaguars stink.
They do stink, but so do the Titans.
They stink, and we really should all be rooting for the Titans as football fans. We don't want this team in the playoffs, guys.
Well, come on. We don't have a lot of good alternatives.
What do you mean? The Texans. They were losing games because Davis Mills.
Steelers. Well, I guess this is winning in no matter what, because... Well, what's the playoff scenario here?
Jags win, they're in. They lose, they're out.
Is that true? I wrote the scenarios, and I can't remember if that's true.
I'm quite sure that is.
The line's not
complicated.
Playoff scenario. Yeah, when we start getting ties,
if they lose, it becomes dependent on some other outcomes.
I just don't want to see the Steelers. That's all. Just no Steelers. That's it. That's the only outcome I want this weekend. You know what? There's two outcomes I want. I want no Steelers, but I want the Bills-Dolphins game to matter. Like, I want the Bills to...
It's going to matter.
It's always going to matter. What are you talking
about? It matters no matter what happens in the league.
But it could be winning in for the Bills if everything breaks correctly.
So then you're
the
rooting
Dolphins
for the
are between 2 and 6. Like, that's a big drop.
I'm rooting for the Steelers to win, but then get knocked out of the playoffs in a critical win and in by the Bills. That's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, but Voodoo won't let that happen.
Fucking voodoo. All right, we
Tomlin
moved to
gets
Donnie. We moved to Donnie, who's got one lone wolf in his top 5, and it's the Dallas Cowboys laying 13 points. You're not going to get a very spirited defense of Washington because we were all beaten down by Sam Howell. Sam Howell, who will be making his 17th start of the season this year. If you had Sam Howell making every start for the 2023-24 NFL season, congratulations. DP, talk about Big D.
I mean, this is Dallas win by 40. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, what? They're going to score a bazillion points. And then they're going to be favored by a lot in the first week of the playoffs, and we get to fade them. That's how this is going to play out, okay? The Washington Commanders are not a real football team. They don't care. They're not trying. No, this is not how this works out.
How far is Micah Parsons from the sack record? And I don't care if it's 6 or 7 because...
Well, it's surely at least 6 or 7.
Because he could probably sack Sam Howell 6 or 7 times in this game. I don't think that's out of the range of outcomes. Twice a quarter? Is that crazy with how long this guy holds on to the football and how bad this Washington offensive line is?
In my childhood, there was a young man named Derek Thomas.
Oh, I was going to say
a hero.
I was going to say Derek Brooks.
He sacked
Derek Brooks had
many quarterbacks, and I think he even sacked one 7 or 8 times in a game.
Derek Brooks had 6 sacks in a game once because my dad had him in his longtime IDP league, and sacks are worth basically a touchdown in that league. So he scored 40 points as an IDP. It was absolutely outrageous.
Khalil Mack this year. He had 6 sacks in a game or 2, right?
Yeah. Anybody who has the highest opinion on the Commanders? It's you, Brett. You have to pick up the Sam Howell shield.
Well, everything Donnie said makes sense. Cowboys probably will win this game by 40, but I've lost money on the commies for 8 straight weeks now, so why not fire them again here?
This is just here to get it all back.
It's just stubborn. I have no reason to take the commies here other than just being stubborn.
Texans at Colts. I've waved the white flag. I refuse to handicap Indianapolis Colts games. I don't. There's not been a team in recent memory that I've gotten wrong as often as this Shane Steichen led team. So I'm out of this discussion. But DP, you were taking CJ Stroud and them boys in this contest. Road favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I think this line's pretty fair overall. I think the Texans are just a better all-around team. I mean, you guys know, I've said it many times on this podcast, I hate the Colts this season. Absolutely can't stand them. So they're probably going to, punch me in the nuts this week. But the Texans are just better. The Texans are better. You want to talk about voodoo? They're certainly deserving to get into the playoffs. So we got to back them. We need to support this team, okay? This is what this is. You got to support them. I mean, the stuff that they've been doing, the stuff that Stroud's been doing, Ryan's with the defense and all that sort of stuff. Let's go. Mo and I might have got our asses kicked on what's his name, rushing, whatever. No big deal. But we're going to get that money back by betting on the Texans. That's what we're going to do.
Texans screwed me in the most improved market as well because the Rams would have had a sweat. Remember, I had Rams plus 1,600 as the most improved team, but it did not matter because the Houston Texans kicked ass all season. Brett doesn't have to get behind Houston because he's got Indy in his top 5.
Well, I've got a Houston plus 950 division.
That's
future.
right.
I'm sweating
One of
out.
the first takes of the season.
So this is a hedge. This doesn't even count as a
hedging
pick.
on the show.
This doesn't even count as a pick. You Rich, cross it off. It's not in his top 5. This doesn't count.
I'm not hedging. I'm just saying I would like Houston to win this game. I don't think they're going to win this game because with this much on the line, I'm going to take the better coach here, and that's Steichen at home getting points. Not a lot of points. But I don't have a good feeling about Houston. A very young team, first-year coach in this spot. I know Steichen's a first-year coach too, but the guy has been a magician this year with his squad, and I just think they get it done this week.
The final game that DP has as a lone wolf, he is laying points with something Easton Stick in the Los Angeles Chargers against the Chiefs.
Yeah, my 1-pointer is zero clue what to do with this stupid game. So, Come on, no one can have an opinion on this one. Let's be real. You're an idiot.
I've got real American dollars on the Kansas City Chiefs, and I've got the Kansas City Chiefs in my top 5. This is coaching, roster construction. You talk about the Eagles needing to have some sort of positive momentum going into the playoffs. How about this pathetic Chiefs offense that will be without Patrick Mahomes on Sunday, but there will be guys that are going to be catching, hopefully, meaningful passes in the playoffs still on the field, and they can get something going in this offense against a Chargers team that had one dead cat bounce where they still lost outright against Buffalo, but have been complete zombies ever since getting curb stomped by the Raiders. And I think that they're going to get beaten again in this game, even with a backup quarterback at the helm for KC. Mo, I'd like to hear your opinion on your Kansas City Chiefs on this contest.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs a little bit as well, but it's hard to get behind it in any serious sense. So I admire your courage. It's still like people are like, okay, well, yeah, it's Chiefs backup. Well, the Chargers are practically a team of backups as well at this point. I mean, they all suck. And the ones that don't suck, some of them are hurt. And Keenan Allen's not going to play, right? He's just done for the year. I mean, he's ready for his next contract. I think he's a free agent. So yeah, like the Chargers are just a ghost team, and they might be ready to pack it in. The only thing that was honestly scaring me, dude, Blaine Gabbert has looked dreadful the times he's come in. Like, he came in against the Bears briefly, I think, or maybe not so briefly, but when the Chiefs were up 41-0 or whatever, they let him throw some passes, and he immediately threw a pick, and it was a horrible pick. So Blaine Gabbert is probably a bottom 10 backup, so this could be very, very ugly.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Isn't he still better than Easton
Something
Stick,
Easton.
I don't know, dude.
Something Stick. All right, we turn to...
Are we betting Chris Jones to have a sack?
Is that one of those incentive bets?
It must be.
Half sack, $1.25 million. Get him his sack. Get him out of the game.
Million's a lot. I feel like he's got to go out there for the sack.
That's what I mean. It's only a half sack. He could just be with someone else. It's not that big of a deal.
That there's going to be Chiefs defensive linemen and linebackers that just hold the quarterback.
Holding stick up. Chris!
Let Chris Jones come
Like
in.
letting Russell Westbrook get the rebound,
Yeah.
Steven Adams.
Yeah, exactly. Brett's got 2 lone wolves. One of them, it's a new week, so Brett has to flip the side that he's on in the Atlanta Falcons game. And this week, as I reached for the sounder, give the Falcons their just due. This week, it's the opposite side as we fade the Atlanta Falcons with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, but this isn't a
So
flip,
he didn't
though.
yo-yo.
No,
He blew it.
This does not
Oh,
meet
you
the criteria.
didn't?
Well, no, because they're on the road again. So how could I flip after they lost on the road? I would want to take them at home, but they're not. They're on the road again. Yeah, this is an away game off a road loss. That said, I do still like the Saints here because the Falcons, I understand that these two teams are still playing for everything, right? But I don't trust this Falcons team, man, especially on the road. I'm done.
How can you trust the Saints?
Because they're still...
What a defense.
What? These two teams are Spider-Man meme. What are you talking about? What? This is ridiculous.
I guess.
Every single time this year that the Saints have played a good game, they walked out onto the field the next week, took a dump at midfield, and then walked back into the locker room. That is literally every good game they've played.
I mean,
So give me the Falcons. Why? This is another fake number, though. We can't even give anybody advice here. 3.5.
3.5 in the contest.
Get out of here, Circa.
3s in
What do
real
you mean?
life.
The advice is just bet the Falcons money bet line. That's the advice. Find the best price you can, and let's go.
I'm with that.
I mean,
I have some Falcons money bet line.
divisional game, take the hook, close contest. Everything screams take the dog in this spot. I waffled on this for a bit though, Brett, because I just hate this Falcons team so much. I'm glad everybody who bet their season win total over If they got it late, they lost. And if the Saints win this game, then everybody is going to lose, taking that idiotic over just because the whole summer they fapped to fucking Warren Sharp's projected schedule and said that the Falcons would have the easiest schedule. Well, guess what they did with the easiest schedule? They pissed down their fucking pants. Okay? It's not just about schedule. You got to play football too. Losers.
Quarterback
Vikings,
matters.
It seems as if the quarterback position matters.
Coaching too. Yeah. Yeah.
Vikings at Lions. Brett, you've got the Vikings. Tell us why.
The Vikings still have a shot to get in, right?
They need everybody to lose.
I know,
they need to win.
It's actually not like the craziest. I think it's only a 3-game parlay.
Yeah, so they are playing with all the motivation. And I don't know what Dan Campbell's going to do. Like, he says he's going to play the starters, but they've got a 4% chance at the number 2 seed. Like,
what do you mean you don't know what Dan Campbell is?
He's
going to show up with.
He's
going to show up with 2 Trenta red eyes, double fisting to the stadium at 6 a.m., bang out a workout,
stupid,
and then go tell his team to win a goddamn football game. Okay, that's what's going to happen.
We actually saw a head coach in the NFL tilt his face off last week. If the Lions got penalties back to the 50-yard line, he still would have went for it. Well, he was just going for 2. No matter what happened, Dan
Tin
Campbell,
Cup moment.
It was Tin Cup. Amen. They were going for 2. Hey, I think we should kick it. We're at the 15. No, fuck it. We're going for 2. He lost his mind. I love it, but he lost his mind. And he's going to play the starters here, and he's going to try to win this game. And the Vikings are awful. They have 17 bad quarterbacks that they keep cycling through. None of them are good at football, and I think the Lions win this one by margin. I'm saying all of this, and Mo is the highest on the Lions with
the Lions were minus 3.5 at Minnesota. What is going on here? This is the one favorite that I'm just like, I have to bet the Lions.
Because
3.5?
Because
I'm with Donnie. I'm on the. It's scary how much I'm on the same page with Donnie.
This is a full circle moment, though, Brett. We talked about it at the top. If we're betting on things as they should happen, it would be a completely different story. But we're betting on things as they are going to happen, which...
And aren't the Lions pissed off at the league? Don't they want to come out and make a statement?
Then go win the fucking Super Bowl. Like, you don't have to win this game. What are you doing? Keep your starters healthy. You want to make a statement?
Dan
go
Campbell.
win it all. Oh, my God.
Dan Campbell, his speech is going to be like, we don't rest, we play football. That's going to be his speech. I mean, that's what this is.
That's going to be the end of their season then. Like, Jared Goff gets hurt this week against this defense. And good luck. Good luck. I don't know. I don't really have a take on this game. I had zero points on it, but I can't see the Lions playing their starters for all 4 quarters. I can't.
The Lions got a shot, man. The Niners have an Achilles heel, and that's throwing the football. If you can throw the football on the Niners, you've got a puncher's chance in beating them. And the Lions can do that. So I'm very excited for these playoffs. I think they're wide open, and anything could happen, which can be fun. Lone Wolves, I've got the Cardinals, Packers, and Jags. Donnie's got the boys, Texans, and Chefs. Brett has the Saints and the Vikings. What you're saying you're going to go? You've got 0. That's right.
No, I'm saying I have 0.
No Lone Wolves for the Moose. All right, time to make the final card of the season.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Donnie had the best record last week. His top pick goes on the card. It's a majority pick, and it is...
Play the sounder.
Oh, reach for it. There's a lot
Atlanta Falcons,
a lot of birds
baby.
in this league. The Atlanta Falcons.
Guys are doing it wrong.
Doing what wrong?
This isn't how it works.
Yes, this is a fake road game as well. They're going indoors. They're going to be fine. They play this team all the time. Who cares?
Fake road game. Mo's top pick was sniped by the collective. His second pick was sniped by Donnie. So he moved to his third pick, which is another majority selection, which all of you will be happy with. And it is
some quarterback that I don't know yet for the Titans. So we can't even make our quarterback card at the end because we don't even know who's playing here. But I just still like the Titans, and I think this is going to be a close game against a team that is only going to be able to move the ball through the air. But I don't know who's playing receiver, and I don't know if the quarterback's healthy. So yeah, give me the Titans.
I'm up next. I've got our first consensus pick. 5 consensus picks this week for the collective. 3 of them, are making the card. I've got the Browns +7 traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. A revenge game for Jeff Driscoll, who had a cup of coffee with the Cincinnati Bengals and will be starting a quarterback, the 5th starting quarterback this season for the Cleveland Browns. You hear that, Jets? There's no excuse. 5 starting quarterbacks for a team that also lost both tackles, that also lost a great running back. They still made the playoffs. Won double-digit games. This is a crazy line. Why is a Cincinnati team that might be without several starters? Jamar Chase is talking like he's going to play, but why would you ever play him in a completely meaningless football game? So this could be Jake Browning, who I love, who I know Brett loves, but with absolutely no one to throw to in a completely meaningless game. Why would Cincinnati win this game by margin? Can anybody explain it to me? I've got this at 6.5 in real life. I'm an idiot. I should have waited. I thought this went from 7 to 6.5, but apparently it's gone from 6.5 to 7. So a full 7 might show, but I only paid 105 for it, so I don't hate it. Looking across the board, the lowest on the Browns is UDP. What is your worry with Cleveland in this spot?
I mean, that they just don't care to try. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is one of those games where like I'm not sure to expect. I mean, this line seems ridiculous, to be honest. I mean, it seems absolutely ridiculous. I mean, is there a world where like Chase and those guys just have the back of their quarterback and want to ball out for him so they can like send him off and, you know, get a job and a contract? I have no idea, right? Like, I mean, but yeah, on the surface, this line seems crazy. But I also don't, like, maybe the Browns do what we just said the 49ers should do earlier and literally just go out there and take knees. I mean, like, what are they playing for? Aren't they locked into the seed and everything? Like, it literally doesn't matter for them. They don't, as far as I'm concerned, no one on their team has any sort of incentives. Like, the Browns should just not even show up to the stadium. What's even the point?
They're definitely,
you know, there's probably a greater risk that, you know, something happens on the way from Cleveland to Cincinnati that, you know, that you should just stay home. What's even the point?
They are locked into the 5 seed no matter what happens. Yeah, it's just game in the 30s. Divisional touchdown. I don't understand this line. So
can't anyone move the ball on the Bengals? I mean, can't your backups move the ball? But then I see it's Jeff Driscoll. I was excited to bet PJ Walker. Now I'm like, well, shit, Jeff Driscoll. I don't know.
Well, all he has
he
to do
might
is
be a mile below threshold.
He's just a turning hand, though. Something Pierre Strong for 150. Why not?
This Bengals defense is so unbelievably bad. This Bengals defense is so bad that they allowed the Chiefs to drive at will and continue scoring, even if they were all field goals. I think the Chiefs scored like 6 out of 7 drives or something. So this is as bad as a defense gets. But yeah, my concern is what you said about Browning is like he's probably just trying to have a big game and Matt Flynn it into another job. You know what I mean?
We remain in the AFC North for our final selection. I'm very interested to talk about this game, Brett. As we got Snoop Huntley on the card.
Yeah, I do like the Ravens. I just love this spot for the Ravens. Great time to sell high on Mason Rudolph and the Steelers as road favorites against a team that historically plays its ass off in games that do not matter. Like, win at all costs, winning culture. They want to go into the playoffs with a win. That's Harbaugh. I truly believe Harbaugh will be smart about the minutes that his key starters play. but also make sure that the team does get reps and do everything it can to win this football game. Like, this is against it. Like, they want to knock the Steelers out of the playoffs for sure. Rival, get them out of there. And then the weather, I think, plays a factor here too, which I think gives the edge to the Ravens, who will be more prepared for it because it's Harbaugh against Tomlin. So I fully expect the players who do suit up for Baltimore to want to win this game, and I kind of think they will at home.
So we saw Snoop last year. He is a very good analog for Lamar Jackson. Again, the sharpness of the Baltimore Ravens. If you're going to have a clipboard delta for an athletic quarterback, why not have an athletic quarterback like Snoop Hundley in there, who nearly won a playoff game last year against Joe Burrow and the Bengals? I'm very interested into what the motivations for the Baltimore Ravens are in this game, Mo, because if the Ravens are a sharp, analytically driven team, Brett, I see you over there, isn't the best move to make it as difficult as possible for the Buffalo Bills to make the playoffs, Mo?
That's the problem. I want to love the Ravens here because everything Brett said is right. But here's what Brett said. That's not. I'm not saying it's wrong, but okay. So Brett said, "Well, I fully believe these players can." Of course, the players are good enough. They're going to go out there and bust their asses and try to win. But do the coaches secretly torpedo them? I don't know. They could just call the most vanilla game plan, like that's what they should do, right? I mean, I know they want their players to like succeed, but it is better for the Baltimore Ravens equity if they lose this game. That is a fact.
I don't think this is like that game know what to do with years
this.
ago
I can't bet
when
this game.
Was it the 49ers should have tied in overtime and they didn't? They like played for the win.
That was
Chargers,
the Chargers and the Raiders.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not in football.
It's like this
blood to lose a game because of whatever. Like I don't.
But that was also
happening.
That was also Staley, and who was the coach at the time for the Raiders?
Was it Gruden?
I mean, honestly, if somebody, if there's a coaching staff that I think can get his team behind a move like this, I feel like it's Harbaugh and the Ravens. I don't know why. I feel like they're all like, they're constantly like back against the wall. We're the underdogs, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, you're like the best team in the AFC. Like, shut up. I mean, like, but I feel like they can build that around them. Like, that's who they are. And they can be like, you know what? We're going to constantly do everything. We're bought in fully with the coaching staff. We believe, let's make it as hard as crap for Buffalo to move forward. And that's what we're going to do.
Other game was,
I can't get behind this.
That other game was a prisoner's dilemma, though, too. That was, we can take a knee, but then if they don't take a knee, then we burned our equity for taking a knee. This is just the Ravens can control something and make it easier on themselves down the road, potentially.
I was also talking about
they will.
I think there was a 49ers Cardinals game like on Thursday night years ago when they didn't tie, and they should have tied because long picture, it would have just made sense. But anyway, it goes back. Was it Mo, Rich, earlier? You said it's like you have to cap for like what people are actually going to do versus what they should do. Like, it's just, they should lose. Yes. Also, not show up to the stadium. Like, just don't show up. Who even cares at this point? I mean, what's the point?
Refund everybody. All right, let's get to another consensus pick, and that's the collective pick.
The collective chooses the New England Patriots.
Why?
This is the one where I'm like looking at it and I'm like, wait. Because, okay.
There should be 3,000 people on the Patriots.
When I capped this game, initially, I thought Zach Wilson was playing. And then I'm like, wait, he's not?
No.
Trevor Siemian on the road in a blizzard? Why is this line 1.5?
Brett, what are your trepidations here?
Because who cares? Why would we put this on the card?
What do you mean, who cares?
A real game. I don't know what either of these teams
Bill
is going to do.
Cares.
If this
Bill
is
cares
truly
for this fake, stupid win, Chase Shula record crap. Like, he hates the Jets.
He hates the fucking Jets.
I mean, it's perfect. There's no better way for Bill to go out. All the crap about how he shouldn't be back, he should be gone, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. He gets to play the Jets at home in a disaster. This is going to be like that Monday Night Football game that we went to. Just an absolute ugly-ass disaster of a game where Bill's going to win like 7-3 and you just cover and get out of there.
And I'm just the incompetence of this Jets team. Saleh had a presser yesterday where he was talking about how since the Falcons game, the Jets offense has improved. They've introduced a lot of motion. Since the Falcons game, the Jets are 29th in EPA per play on offense. Their percentage of motion pre-snap has not changed since before the Falcons game. Today, Nathaniel Hackett said he wasn't prepared for Breece Hall, the pass catcher. That's a thing that he said. He wasn't prepared for him to be able to catch the ball. This Jets team and staff is just in the wilderness. It's the Sopranos episode where they're just in the Pine Barrens. They don't know what's going on. They're chasing ghosts.
That's the greatest episode they ever made, by the way.
They don't know what's going on. And they're going up to Foxborough in a blizzard, and Bill Belichick is going to smack the shit out of them. That's what's going to happen.
I fired a big bet on the Patriots today after I was just like, how can Trevor Siemian, how is this? And money's coming in on the Jets. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
That was shocking to me to see this move in the direction of
the Patriots
Jets.
have been playing solid football other than Bailey Zappi being a complete moron and throwing the ball to the other team. Trevor Siemian on the road against this. I don't know how anyone gets a first down, but it's like Donnie was saying. I know Bill's going to find a way to win this game because he just will. He's a coach with a pulse still. Bill can still coach.
Yeah, I'm with all that. So our card right now, Patriots, Ravens, Falcons, and Titans. The two consensus games that did not make the card. The one is it's the too sharp for own good special of the week. It's Panthers plus 4.5. We all clicked it, but none of us really had the stones to put it too high. None of us had the stones to put a lot of confidence points next to it because it's the Panthers. It's the Panthers. We all have a feeling it's the right side. We all have an inclination to fade the Bucs here in what is a must-win spot in the last week of the season, but it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to click the Panthers in the spot. The other game, which is a little more interesting, and because we have Brett,
The Bills make me wanna
down in South Florida, the nightcap, Bills at Dolphins for the AFC East and potentially for the Buffalo Bills, a seat into the playoffs. We all have the Dolphins. I was surprised when I saw that this came out as a full 3 in favor of Buffalo. I thought that the Dolphins would be home dogs, but Brett, this is a very large number for the Bills to lay when, despite winning a bunch of games in a row, when's the last time this Bills team looked impressive?
That's the thing. Dude, this was, the look ahead on this game was Dolphins minus 1.5. So it moved 4.5 points after Sunday's games. After Josh Allen played his worst game in 3 years. After the Bills looked awful again in a victory against a basement dweller for the second straight week. Like, maybe this just is a definition of a team that plays down to its opponents and gets up against good teams. I don't know what this team is. It doesn't make any sense. And Allen's always played well against Miami, and there's always that chance he just blows the doors off the Dolphins again here, but 3 is a lot for me. And the market seems to agree because I'm seeing 2.5s pop at books right now. So I don't understand this 3. I don't get it.
DP, you're
part of it is just injuries piling up for Miami.
For sure.
Yeah, it's also not. I mean, it's not like Miami doesn't have anything to play for here. I mean, if they lose, they're going to drop to the 6th seed. That's a pretty big freaking drop.
This game is everything, man. Like, this is the division.
It's huge. I mean, this game is a lot of fun. I can't get behind this Bills offense and like what they're doing. Like, at least enough to cover 3 on the road. When I know Miami has injuries, right? I know they're dealing with it, and I still have no idea what we're going to get out of Tyreek as well. But like, they have enough, I think, to kind of hang with the Bills here, and in a game that, like aren't these games like this? Feels like in a way how I kind of always approach the Super Bowl, and what I mean by that is like people go in and they're like, oh, these offenses 60 points, blah blah blah, all this, and it's like then it's like 20-17 because it's so close. Like these teams are going to come out, everything is on the line, like Brett just said. Like no one's just going to be like throwing caution to the wind and going crazy. So it's going to be super tight early on. Yeah, it might open up eventually, but like this game means so much for these teams that I feel like it's going to be played tighter than people think, which means like you can't just go out there and go nuts. Like I don't think Doug McDermott, of all people, is going to just let Josh Allen just go crazy.
McDermott, notable Omaha Hooper, Doug McDermott. Keep going, Donnie.
But like he's not going to come out and just like go nuts and let Josh Allen just like go crazy and have one of these horrible Josh Allen games. Of course, Josh Allen can be very good and he can possibly wreck this Miami defense. Yes, but we haven't really seen that from Josh Allen lately. So McDermott, I feel like kind of just keeps it conservative to an extent with him, which keeps this game closer at the end of the day, right? And on the other side, I mean, McDaniel can coach pretty well. He's going to scheme a lot of stuff up. I think we're going to see, like, I don't know. I've been watching Hard Knocks, the in-season Hard Knocks. I've watched a lot of the Miami games. Obviously, they have a lot of really fun plays, right? I feel like McDaniel's going to get in his bag this week, and he's going to pull some stuff out because this is the one that matters. You ain't saving stuff anymore. Like, let's go.
So the main part of your point there about this being a tight game is the reason why Mo has Real American Dollars on under 50, and I got it a point less at under 49.
Slammed the under. It was so high.
I'm glad you had that rant there, Donnie, because it brings me back to the Colts-Texans game where I'm going to bet it after this. I have the same feeling about that game. That is a playoff game for the Colts and the Texans, and you've got two inexperienced quarterbacks in that position. Obviously a rookie in CJ Stroud and a career basically backup for Gardner Minshew. And the total in that game is 47. And you're thinking the same thing. Both of these teams indoors, trailing, going nuts, scoring a bunch of points. But I just have this sneaking suspicion for the same reason. It's going to be tight. It's a playoff game. It's going to be,
I think that's the right side, but I will tell you, I cannot bet another Colts under. I'm done with them.
It's terrifying. Both of these teams are, when they're trailing, can go nuts and make sure that this goes over. So it is terrifying. But I just think they're going to spar a little bit and feel each other out and play playoff football, which is a little tighter to the vest than we see in the regular season. So I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna let my nuts hang and bet under 47 there. All right, real quick, Survivor. It's down to it. Last week.
What do you guys think these guys should do? I'm looking at the list of teams they have.
I mean,
I
they
have no
pulled
idea
up.
if they've actually made a deal or not, so I don't even know like if this is serious or if they're just messing around. I feel like they made a deal because the chance that they all picked different teams last week seems very hard for that to happen. I feel like they all made a deal and they were all like, we're all going to make a deal and we're all going to pick different teams. Like you pick this guy, you pick this guy, you pick this, like that, they did it to kind of like mess with people in a way. I feel like that's what happened.
The crown still matters though. Mo, you've been looking at the permutations and the picks available. What are you thinking?
For your touting career, you have to win.
That's right. Yeah. You can't.
I don't know. So I just posted the picks in our chat. So the most interesting is obviously the guy with somebody has 7 teams left somehow, and nobody else has more than 5. So he has several choices. Imagining that he had something to play for, which who knows, maybe they did leave something to play for. I don't know. It's nobody exciting, that's for sure. Cincinnati is the biggest favorite, and everyone has Cincinnati left. So I feel like there's a little bit of prisoner's dilemma there. If this was for real, and everyone would supposed to be wanting to pick Cincinnati, although I'd be a little leery of it, obviously, since I like the Browns against the spread. But I think I might just pick New England, man. That's how much I like New England. I don't care if the line's 1.5.
Can you imagine?
If I was
being
that
in
guy
this
who had
spot?
7 teams left, I would pick probably Detroit because no one else has them, and I would be trying to win it all. If we've made a sizable deal and there's like $500K, let's say, to play for, well, then just freaking try and win it. Like, just, and don't even give yourself a chance that like, if he picks New England, yeah, somebody else can pick New England, and then you have to split the money. So just go for it, man, at that point.
He's the only one with the Chargers as well. He wanted to, and the Steelers. Those are his two unique teams, it looks like.
Brett, imagine if we were in this. We'd be shitting bricks if we were in this.
Because I mean, we would have these same teams left, and it's like, I had such a hard time this week. I don't know what these teams are doing. So, like, how can you feel good about taking the Bengals in this spot with Jake Browning and like, what? Like, is Jamar Chase going to play? Oh, yeah. This would be such a gross sweat if you could make a deal. I don't know if I could handle it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, at $2.3 million, you have to take some equity off of, a large chunk of equity off of the table, and then like Mo said, play for like $500,000, right? Well,
this is what Circa said when somebody asked about a chop. They said, as far as we know, there might be an agreement about splitting some of the pot and playing for the rest. We don't know the details. We aren't part of those agreements. Winners can have us distribute the prize to others if they wish. That tells me,
look at Circa.
Circa knows, and they're just not going to put it out there. But like,
but good for Circa being willing to distribute the prize.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that.
As opposed to having people have to do it themselves and all the shit that can happen when
we don't know any idiots who would ever do that, do we?
This is
By the
how
way,
you run a contest.
all the final four contestants have 11 teams available to pick. The ones that Mo shared those are just the favorites.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I was like, am I stupid or shouldn't they have the exact same number?
No, yeah,
of teams
they all have
available?
11. It's just that L.A. Joneser just has the most favorites in Week 18.
I was like, people picked multiple teams in a week. Why does one team have more teams than another?
L.A. Joneser team misclick.
Yeah, the team that misclicked?
Yes.
Golly. You ever just make a multi-million-dollar misclick? Golly. Well, good luck to them. Good luck to you guys. Good luck to us doing it for professional pride here in Week 18. We'll be back to give playoff takes each round of the playoffs, so don't you fret. At Gridiron Gambles, where you can find us. Follow us on Twitter at Brett Colson, COLLSON, at Mo Nuwara, NUWWARAH, and at Donnie_Peters. I'm at Rich T. Ryan. Until next week, enjoy the football. Peace.